We're ready to get started.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, everyone. This is the Gary Sanitary District meeting. Today's Monday, November 4th, 2024. Will everyone please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we have roll call to establish a quorum. Present.
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 Attorney Joel Harris Jr.
Present.
Interim Executive Director Brenda Scott Henry. And Finance Manager Jerome Foster.
Present.
Thank you. All in attendance, we have a quorum. Next, we'll move on to certification. Pursuant to Indiana law, section 5-14-1.5-6.1, I certify that prior to the start of today's meeting, there was an executive session that was held, and nothing discussed in the executive session, I'm sorry.
You're right.
Oh, that was not indicated on the posted notice. That being in compliance with the Indiana statutes, there were no final votes held during the session. Does any member dissent? Hearing none, we'll move on to minutes. What is the pleasure of the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the minutes for the executive session and regular meeting minutes of October 21st, 2024.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, the minutes have been approved. Next, we have 2.1, new business. Mr. Foster?
Thank you. Make a motion to approve and ratify GSD payroll earnings for period ending October 7, 2024 through October 20th, 2024, in the amount of $262,039.14.
After hearing the overview and recommendation for payroll to be approved, is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept and approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion on 2.1? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, payroll has been approved. Next, we have 2.2.
2.2 is a motion to approve amendment number 1 to task order number 54 by and between Gary Sanitary District and American Structure Point for engineering services for 15th and Clay Pump Station mechanical screen and CSO gate replacement in an amount not to exceed $49,400. I'm going to ask Cola to give an update on this amendment to the task order.
Yeah, the intention of this task order amendment is to take advantage of the IFA SRF loan. Structure Point will develop a PR and then also coordinate with IFA and the requirements, to speed up and then to get this so that we can close out on the loan. Currently, they are designing the pump station bar screen and the sluice gate and the bypass system. The IFA deadline is April 1st, so time is of essence regarding this project.
Thank you, Cola. Mr. Owasika.
After hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.2, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move, Mr. Chair, for approval.
Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for 2.2. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.2 has been approved. Next, we have 2.3.
2.3 is a motion to approve the professional service contract by and between the Gary Sanitary District and Commonwealth Engineering for the wastewater treatment plant feasibility study and preliminary engineering report in an amount not to exceed $198,600. I'm going to ask, do you want to do this overview? You want Cola to go ahead with the interview. If you have any questions for Commonwealth, they are present here to add to any questions that you may have.
Yes, a Commonwealth is our engineer that is working to develop the long-term control plan to be submitted to the Department of Justice. The feasibility study will kind of guide us as to how there are some things that we're trying to work to. DOJ is advising us to do, but that we are looking at that it's not feasible. The plant is 120 MGD. They want improvements to sustain 142 MGD. They want the plant upgrade to 180 MGD. So the feasibility study will address and will investigate the hydraulic system and our process in the plant. So it's essentially to investigate, how we can, first of all, the capacity of the plant, hydraulically and process-wise, and at the same time, how we can modify the long-term control plan.
And if maybe we can get Commonwealth to just quickly, just come up, introduce yourself, and real quick, just highlight experience.
Absolutely. As Cole had said, yes, the goal with this study is the DOJ and some of the discussions that we've had with them, they have had very specific questions about pieces of the process at the wastewater treatment plant. What we are asking to do as a part of this is to, first, a feasibility component. The feasibility component will look at opportunities for, we'll say one process in particular, the anaerobic digesters. Some of those have been offline for decades. Can those be rehabilitated? Do they need to be replaced? Without having an expert, a structural and process look at those, we can't really answer those questions. So we're proposing on-site reviews and inspections of the equipment, targeted locations to be able to answer that from a feasibility standpoint. The results of the feasibility study then go into a preliminary engineering report. That is going to be a document that is going to be fundable by the IFA SRF. The intent is to submit that as well to IFA SRF. The goal with all of this is twofold. One, it provides an opportunity for funding for improvements at the treatment plant, and two, it gives us an opportunity to definitively answer questions that the DOJ is asking us related to specific pieces and processes of the wastewater treatment plant itself.
And then can you just give your name for the record?
Yes, Andrew Robarge with Commonwealth Engineers.
Thank you.
And I just want to add that this is a part of the Phase 2 projects of the long-term control plan that has been partially approved. So we're using, so that Jerome knows exactly how to categorize this expense.
Okay, after hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.3, for professional services for Commonwealth Engineering, what is the pleasure of the board? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion on 2.3? All right, hearing none, roll call?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyle, Commissioner Maybach,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.3 has been approved. Moving on to 2.4.
2.4 is a motion to approve professional services contract filed between the Sanitary District. Sorry. And Mueller Group for engineering services for electrical and HVAC improvements at the 27th and Chase pumping station in an amount not to exceed $193,200. Again, this is another one of those projects that falls under Phase 2. Yes, and should be financed accordingly with Mr. Foster's department. But Cola, could you give an additional overview of what we will achieve here?
Yes, this project was already approved by the IFA, but we still need to prepare the IFA, the PR, and we also still need to coordinate activities with the IFA. And then it's not, Mueller is going to design the project as well. So they're going to do the design, they're going to do the PR, and they're going to coordinate activities with the IFA to close the project.
After hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.4, what is the pleasure of the board?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second? Second. Motion's been made and properly second for 2.4. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call?
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles?
Yes.
Commissioner Mayhew?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.4 has been approved. Next, we have 2.5.
2.5 is a motion to approve award a bid to Rebuild It Services Group for the detritus tank rehabilitation. This is a new drive cage and rake arm, and an amount not to exceed $284,647. Mr. Owasika, can you give an overview, please?
Yeah, I would like to state that this is an emergency work. The tank is out of service, and it's also creating a flow problem because it's restricting flow. And then we're not able to pull in as much water as possible during wet weather event, which may create a CSO or basement backup. So currently, the tank is out of service. So we need to get on it immediately. The south tank was rebuilt 2 years ago, but nothing was done on the north tank. The north tank just fell apart about 2 weeks ago.
This is at the Headworks, right?
Yeah, Headworks.
Yes. Right over.
Mr. Cole, I just had a question for you. Preventive maintenance. Do we have a preventive maintenance program over there?
We do have preventive maintenance. This tank's
Just normal
been,
wear and tear?
yeah, this was wear and tear because it's been built since maybe since the 60s. So it's way past its useful life.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to just add that, we're thankful for this opportunity for the board to allow us to do a lot of the maintenance work that has been delayed for so many years. But, yeah, as we are making repairs on these and rebuilding some of this equipment and processes, we are also pulling in that, kicking in preventive maintenance into our tech services, our tech meetings on every Wednesday. So one work order is developed for repairing or restoring equipment, but then anything that after we finish doing that work, it starts preventive maintenance activities or expenses. So yes, we're making sure that we're doing preventive maintenance so that we don't run into this challenge again in the future, in the near future.
And I'd like to add that we are doing the work in-house because we have to contract it out. We're talking the tune up like $1 million. So.
Okay, after hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.5, to award a bid to Rebuild It Services Group for the detritus tank, did I say that right?
Detritus tank.
Detritus tank, in the amount not to exceed $284,647. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
We'll second it.
Motion's been made and properly second for 2.5. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call?
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Miles?
Yes.
Commissioner Vega?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.5 has been approved. Next, we have 2.6.
2.6, a motion to approve award a bid to Comline Sanderson for technical services for the refurbishment of the filter belt press number 3 and number 4 in an amount not to exceed $64,032. That means that is $32,016 each for each one of the tanks to be refurbished. The filter belt to be refurbished.
The parts for these two pieces of equipment were approved by the board. I think the last 2 board sessions. So the parts procurement were approved. This is just for the installation of those equipment by the vendor.
Mr. Cole, I have a question. The board on October 21 approved $365,394. And that item said exactly what this one says, 2.6. So I have 2 questions. When we approved their bid, was it a competitive process when we awarded the 365?
It's a sole source.
It's sole source.
Yes, sir.
That answers my first question. Then my second question is, it seems like this is for travel expenses, lodgings, et cetera. That's not normally in the original bid?
No, the project was divided into 2 parts. The first was to get all the parts in. So what was approved by the board was procurement of the parts. Now to have them to come in now and install, put the parts together, that is what I'm asking the board to approve today.
Well, you're making my point. If they knew they were gonna have to come and do the work, why was that in just in the original bid? I don't get that. Why do we separate? Is that the custom? I mean, if it's the custom, it's the custom.
At that time, I didn't have this information in my hand. Otherwise, I would have combined both.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cole.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for 2.6? Hearing none. For 2.6, after hearing the overview and recommendation, for the award of bid for Comline Sanderson for technical services, or the installation of the belt filter for press number 3 and 4, not to exceed amount of $64,032. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
No second.
Motion's been made and properly second for 2.6. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Miles?
Yes.
Commissioner Vega?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.6 has been approved. Next, we have 2.7.
2.7 is a motion to approve an award of bid to Metsur Plumbing and Pumping LLC for the Gary Sanitary replacement at the vicinity of 4601 West Fifth Avenue in an amount not to exceed $75,647. Mr. Owasaka, could you give an overview, please?
Yes, the sewer caving and then obstructing flow. If we don't do it now, we're going to be experiencing backups and the SSO which which we're trying to avoid. So it's the system already. I mean, the SWA already failed, so we need to replace it.
What's the timeline for this work?
Yeah, that should be 6 months, 3 months. It was just 3 months after notice of proceed is received.
So this isn't an emergency?
And that's why we brought to the board, because the board already given us go ahead to do any emergency repair.
Mr. Kohler, the understanding is that Mets has merged, or they've been bought out, or they purchased one of their competitors. Have we got the paperwork on that yet?
I think we did the investigation. Yeah, there are two complete entities.
I think it was discussed at a previous meeting that one of the employees previously worked for Mets. They had they left Mets and then acquired LGS, or vice versa. So I don't think one bought the other.
Yeah.
One employee happened to be working for one, left, and acquired the other business.
So somebody from LSG bought Mets.
I was told that there is no relationship between LGS staff and then the new owner of
Well, here's the
Mets.
interesting thing. LGS is not a Gary-based business, correct?
Correct.
LGS is Crown-based,
Okay,
but MS is Gary-based.
so by them merging with Mets?
There's no margins. There's no margin here.
Okay, well, where's LGS now? LGS?
LGS is still LGS.
Are they still submitting bids?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Separately.
Number 2.
Let's roll on.
Looking at this rate, cost for both technicians is £32. But in the recommendation, it says each.
Right, for both.
This doesn't say, it says for both.
Okay, well, let's just first get through this item and then we'll revert back.
All right.
So after hearing the recommendation, excuse me, and the recommendation for 2.7, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Wiles?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.7 has been approved.
Mr. Chairman, can I make some post-vote comments?
Yes.
Mr. Owasika, I notice A.J. Brown constantly bids, but he's not getting any bids. On this last bid, apparently he left crucial information out of his bid. Do you guys do a little reach out to some of these people to say, you know, next time you should fill out all the forms, or do you just let them keep making the same mistake?
So funny enough, I was asked this very same question by Cola. So yes, I did make sure to reach out to AJ and let him know that he needed to fill out the entire bid section. So that is something that's customarily done if we notice that there is constantly problems with the bid. So he was notified.
Very good, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
No problem.
Next, we have 2.8.
You guys voted on this? Okay, all right. All right.
Did we approve? We did finish that.
Okay, a motion to approve acceptance of certificate of final completion submitted by Wunderlich Melick for the HMI replacement project number SD 22-01. Did I pronounce that name right?
I think an observation, 2.7 was not at the resolution, no voting.
Take up 2.8 and 2.9?
Hold on a second, Cola's asking a question.
There was no voting for 2.7.
No voting for 2.7.
Did vote. I said my question was post-vote.
Oh,
He said post-vote.
So Mr. Chairman, can we take up 2.8 and 2.9?
Yeah, they're saying ones.
Okay.
Retainage.
Do we need we don't need a motion to,
So we,
No, if you provide an overview of both 2.8 and 2.9 at the same time, a commissioner can make a motion to approve two items at the same time if they like.
okay, so let's make a motion to both accept the final completion and release tainage for Wunderlich Malik for the HMI replacement, project number SD 22-01. The retainage amount is $98,105. I recommend approval.
yeah, this project is the improvements of the SCADA system in the entire GSD facility and the satellite stations. The project is complete, already in service, it's in use. Just want to the board to approve the certificate of completion and the release of retainage.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
yes.
Documentation shows the date of August 28, 2024, where they're requesting their retainage. What took it so long to get to us?
I was having issues with the completion of the project because the project was managed by CDN Smith. And there were some things I was expecting to find out from to see in the completion of the project. So we have to institute a group, a technical team to review the entire contract. And I was informed that the previous administration in charge of the project.
I think your documents show that it was approved on the 28th.
Approved,
You're not up on current events.
approved on 28th.
I'm looking at a memo that's dated August, I read the stuff you give me, okay? August 28, 2024, right? It's from you to Ms. Scott Henry. Says, enclosed find the following form submitted by Wunderlich Malik for the above-mentioned project. Certificate of final completion, release of retainage, pay application number 10, final. GSD staff has reviewed the certificate of final completion and the release of retainage. GSD staff concurs with Wunderlich Malik, has completed all the contractual items and recommend the approval of the certificate of final completion. Did you see this? Yes or no? Did you see it?
If you say it's from me, I can't.
That's your memo. And it says you had approved it as of the date of your memo, August 28, 2004.
So-
Otherwise, I wouldn't, I'm talking to him. Otherwise, I would not have brought it up.
Okay.
So then, what's the answer to my question? Why did it take till November 1st to deal with something that you wrote a memo on August 28, 2024?
And,
I'm sorry?
You want to see it?
can let me look.
Yeah, come and see it. That's all I was going to say.
Here, you can have mine. You can keep it. Is that your memo?
Just take a look. You're his assistant, right?
I was trying to explain that, but that.
You know, documents are memorializations of activities, Mr. Kohler.
Okay,
I don't mean to be a lawyer on you, but
the memo,
being able to back away from this if you created the document and dated the document and put it in circulation in the ordinary and necessary course of business of the Gary Sanitary District.
I understand. I think I'll be more careful next time. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments? For 2.8 and 2.9? After hearing the overview and recommendation for both 2.8 and 2.9, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
One second.
Chairman, of 2.8 and 2.9.
I got a second on that, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for both 2.8 and 2.9. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call?
Commissioner Cook?
Yes?
Commissioner Miles?
Yes.
Commissioner Mega?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.8 and 2.9 has been approved. Next brings us to claims. 3.1, Mr. Foster.
Thank you. I make a excuse me, I make a motion to approve and ratify GST claims 2533 through 2585 in the amount of $337,872.60.
We have a recommendation for approval of claims.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
I'm looking at a breakfast that was held at Jay's Breakfast Club in the amount of $674, and says for the Board of Commissioners workshop meal.
What's the claim number on that?
That's for November 14th.
553.
What is it?
2553.
Yes, that's for November 14th. Your workshop, the board workshop, where we will discuss the insurances, the, yeah.
Oh, there's a workshop.
Yeah, I'm going to feed y'all.
Back up on that, Mr. Cook.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
No, no,
It's scheduled.
it's scheduled for the 14th, Mr.
He still
Cook,
wasn't there.
Commissioner.
Any other
Might be there in a
questions or
second.
comments?
I didn't make that one.
Any other questions or comments on claims? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage, Mr. Chairman.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Miles?
Yes.
Commissioner Mega?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, claims have been approved.
Just a note on what Mr. Cook spoke on. Mr. President, you're going to have to sign off on that, because that's, the board is actually supplying the meal. So we're going to have to put a correction on the claims for you to initiate that.
Okay. We'll take a look into that.
You get free lunch
Would that
while
be
you at it.
covered by the board just signing normal claims?
Yeah, is that too
We'll take a
much?
look into it. Next, we got information updates, plant operations.
She's ordering in advance. No, so I guess there's a date.
I have the wrong agenda. Oh, did I?
No, you're okay. You're okay. What are you looking at?
GSD financial reporting?
Did you guys vote on the claim? Okay, great. We have GSD financial reporting for the period of July 1 through September 30th, and it's just a matter of record for the board.
And I want to thank Eric Sender for getting that for us.
Expeditiously,
It's not even due to the state for another 2 weeks, so we really appreciate that.
Yeah, we need a motion on that.
Yes, there is something important I want to bring to the attention of the board. This has to do with stormwater management at the Gleason Golf Course. I know this is a GSD session, but since I will not have the opportunity to speak at the stormwater session, I said maybe I should bring it up now. And that has to do with.
Before you do that, Cole, a quick question. Did you need board approval on that GSD financial reporting?
I do not. It's a matter of record.
Okay.
Yeah, the Gary Stormwater Management is managing the stormwater at the Gleason Park. And then the board of directors approved a contract to mow and cut the trees in the Gleason Park. However, there was an omission at the recommendation because when we gave the spreadsheet of all the bids, and the spreadsheet also included the initial mowing and then subsequent mowing, weekly mowing after the initial mowing. But when we do the recommendation, we only did not to exceed of just the initial mowing. So the subsequent mowing now, they submitted a claim, but the finance department caught it that the board did not approve for the weekly mowing.
Well, that's a
So-
stormwater issue though, isn't it?
Yes, so I discussed with our attorney, Joe Harris, and he said I should bring it before the board.
Yes, if I can add to this. So he's bringing it up because he has an opportunity on the agenda just to address the board, but you're right, it's something that needs to be addressed in stormwater. Basically, there needs to be an approval and ratification of the complete award. There was an item left out, so if we can bring that up when we get to stormwater, we can
Okay.
clean that up. Yep.
Do you-
That's just for information for now. I'll bring it up during stormwater to make sure you adopt it.
Okay.
We have to approve weekly mowing.
Correct.
Well, the job's been done already, isn't it?
No, the work that Cola's describing is for ongoing work. The portion that got approved at our last meeting, which was an amount not to exceed figure, was just for the initial cut. Now there's ongoing
We
cutting.
never got that. We never got that. We just
19,000
saw,
was one cut?
yeah, we saw that on the claim.
Yeah, so that site was pretty bad. No, you approved, we did approve,
We approved that?
yeah, you did approve it. But we knew that it was going to need subsequent cuts because it was so bad, hadn't been cut in 4 years.
Wait a minute. We approved cutting grass one time for $19,000?
It was 23.
I don't recall it.
Business. Maybe, let's get a thing.
It's 100 and how many acres? How many acres? 70-something acres?
Oh, is that me? Well, let me back up then. I don't want that job.
Yeah, if you want to cut, it's a golf course.
Well, I mean, I can recall we pumping that thing dry when it flooded. I think,
Somebody ran into the thing again.
yeah, I think the executive director put a pump out there. Did we ever recover the pump that we put out there?
So we,
No, the pump is still there.
Beg your pardon?
There is a pump station at the golf.
We got a pump station there now.
Maybe we
Yes.
can talk about this more during stormwater. We'll just continue down.
Okay.
Sanitary district, but thank you for bringing that up. It's still on plant operation. Did you have,
Yeah, let me speak on the long-term control plan. We submitted to DOJ the response letter of September 26. And then the letter just spoke about our concern regarding their request in terms of improving the plan to 142 MGD or to sustain 142 MGD and then 180 MGD upgrade. And then also about the timeline that they're giving us to get everything done. We also submitted the FCA, financial capability analysis, which is the affordability of, how can we afford all these projects they're asking us to do? So, I mean, the deadline was October 31st. That was submitted. And I think the next step now, we are looking into cost of service analysis. You know, what is costing us to process all the waste coming to the plant, and what is costing us to manage, maintain all our infrastructures, to help us determine if we can even, if we have the capability of financing the projects that they're asking us to do, or the user rate is, what the customer communities are. Maybe I just let Brenda chime in on this area of accountancy. I'm not an accountant.
Okay, so, no, that's a good overview. Thank you for sharing that information. We just wanted to really point out that all of the reports that were due, that you see listed here, in item 1 and 2, those were submitted to DOJ on time on October 31st. Our next step is just to get the cost of study done so that we can really determine what it's costing us to process waste. And then, of course, we'll continue to work with TAF as well as Commonwealth until we complete the long-term control plan, which is due in February. Prior to that, I do know we need to start having conversations around having a public meeting. It may happen after one of the board meetings, that we give an update to the public. So you might want to start thinking about that.
Okay, in addition, we're continuing to make improvements to the operations and improving the operations or processes in the plant.
And we estimated that the work that we do in the plant this year alone would have estimated at over $9 million. We've been able to do that with the support of the board for under $3 million. So we saved a lot of work by doing things in-house, and we just can't thank our maintenance operators and the engineering department for the work they're doing to help us to save money, because we're going to need it for the long-term control plan.
Brenda, I think that's one of the reasons why on this financial report, we probably should have, maybe if we had time, we probably should have gone over it, because it would have shown your successes on here. I mean, for example, obviously, it seems as if cave-ins are down. Look like we're saving a lot of money on cave-ins. But this financial report ties into things that you just said, and you know, not to toot your own horn or anything like that, but it shows the savings, and it really, you know, for us to just approve it or whatever, sometimes we have to go into detail,
Okay.
you know, on this report, because it's reflective of how we're tracking year-to-date, you know, with the budget that we approved at the beginning of the year. But it's a pretty good report, because you're saving some money, and we're able to use that money to enhance our operations.
Yes,
Okay.
for the first time in a long time.
Right.
It takes teamwork. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm ready to answer your questions.
Do you have any questions or comments for Cole? All right, thank you.
Sit right over there.
Thank you.
Next, we have construction activities.
Good morning, Board.
Afternoon.
You are?
I'm Jabez Anderson, the Assistant Manager of Engineering for GSD. And I'll be giving you my progress report for construction projects. We have the 27th, or at least I'll speak on the 27th and Chase Pump Station Force Main Replacement, the Phase 2. That's actually been completed October 7th. The ribbon cutting was held on the 21st, in which the First District, Indiana State Rep, the mayor, GSD representatives, including myself, and then the board president was all present for. And then as far as future plans for the project, we'll be moving on to phase 3, and you'll probably hear a little bit more about that from Structure Point coming up. We have the 27th and Chase bar screen replacement project that's happening. With that project, it's just completing punch list items. So a couple more things for them to take care of, a little bit of housekeeping, and then that project will be fully complete. We have the Lake Street Drainage Improvements and Road Construction project that's going on. Right now, they are paving the east side of the road between Hemlock and Florist. One extra crew has been deployed to the site in order to meet that 2024 completion date. So they're really hustling on this job, trying to get it done. In the future, they'll be continuing the paving on Birch Ave, and they'll be paving the intersection of 3rd Ave and Lake Street. And then they'll be continuing the work going north of Forest. And then last but not least, at least on these major projects, it's the US 20 Highway Complete Street project. Right now, we're finalizing the property acquisition. We're coordinating with the utilities for the relocation. So once the property acquisition is taken care of, fully completed, then the notice to proceed to the utilities will go out. The utilities will then go and move their assets as necessary. And then our work will be starting in the spring of next year. And we're still in line to complete the project as scheduled. And then we have various cave-ins. Two in your report is the 2247 Wisconsin Street. That project has been completed and paid for. And then the 2200 Chase Street project has been completed. They've turned in their tapes and everything for verification. I'm just waiting on the invoice now. And then we have various stormwater permit projects that are going on, but that's in another meeting. So that is all of the construction activities thus far.
Well, there's one missing on here, and I don't know what happened, if the work was done, but it was never shown done. The work that was done in Ironwood, that we're waiting on for years. We've been waiting on the water company and the electrical company to come out and move their cables. I see it's not on the list now.
Oh, okay.
The job was to be done by METS. Since METS already no longer exists, so we have to rebid the project.
So we're going to rebid that project?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shouldn't it still be on the list?
It will be on the list when we bid it out.
It's got to be active.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Anderson, I have a question.
Oh, please.
I looked at your report, and I was curious on the 20 project, they're clearing on the south side of 20 into that lot, you know, you have pictures of it.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
That's going to be a stormwater retention pond. Yes. Did you? Yeah.
So did we buy that land? I mean the GSD or the state, or who bought the land?
Oh, okay. So GSD bought the land. Mm. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I want to thank him for maintaining this report. This report is essential to me at year end for fixed assets, construction in progress. So thank you for taking this over and maintaining it.
I got you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Next, we have American Structure Point.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jim Zarnik with American Structure Point, here to give my typical project update. So I'll start with 15th and Clay Pump Station, the grit removal system replacement. 30% design progress. We'll have that done this week. We're ahead of schedule, so happy to report that. We completed our initial cost estimate for the project, and it's coming in at $1.1 million. The initial estimate from the PER, done by others, was $1 million, so it's in the ballpark. So that's good news. And then finally, we're conducting our 30% design review meeting with GSD staff on Thursday. Moving on to the screen replacement project. We started our survey last week, and we completed our site visit as well. And we've reviewed the as-built plans. We've started doing our hydraulic modeling, and we've confirmed the maximum capacity of the pump station, so now we know how to size the screen, and we're reaching out to suppliers for information as we move forward with that design. And then finally, 27th and Chase force main replacement, Phase 3, as Jabez mentioned. Lots of progress there. The plan and profile sheets are 80% complete. We've got the preliminary draft of our maintenance of traffic done. Our front-end specs are 95% complete. Our tech specs are 65% complete. Somewhat big news, we've got a response from IFA on our PER response that we issued. That was probably like a month ago at this point. And our response was like 100 pages long, and we got one technical comment. So I'm very happy about that. So we'll respond to that, and then as soon as we get the hearing conducted and all that, then we should have an approved PER. Structural plans, general sheets are in progress, the phasing plan's in progress, quantities and cost estimate. So our targeted dates, 90% docs should be completed and submitted for GSD review by November 21st, so just around the corner. And then our bid advertisement is targeted for January 24th. And that concludes,
Which project, what's that?
that was 27th and Chase, Phase
Phase 3?
3.
Yes.
Yes. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do we have any comments or questions for American Structure Point? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I just want to add Attorney Harris for information.
Yes, yes. As you all know, on behalf of the board, I have been working on the recruitment process for a permanent executive director. With the end of the year coming and with the timeline that's been provided by the board, I am in need of some assistance with some additional professional services to help complete that task. So what I'm looking for is a motion from the board to approve acquiring additional professional services to help me in that regard. I will present to the board at the next board meeting the details of that, including the proposed contract. But what I need now is just authorization to proceed forward with obtaining additional professional services to help with that.
Yes, so after hearing the recommendation from Attorney Harris, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
The board authorize Attorney Harris to get additional professional work with regard to the executive director.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, motion has been made and properly second. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Yes.
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 Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
For 5 ayes and 0 noes, motion has been approved. Next, we have discussion. Any items or any other board members would like to bring up or discuss? Okay.
Well, I'll just say one thing real quick, that the reopening of Grant Street, obviously, the board was kind of overlooked on that, and I just hope that, Chase Street, I'm sorry. What street did I say?
You said Grant.
Oh, I was thinking about where I was going. But next time, I just hope that the communication's there and that the board is made abreast, because the mayor was there. He selects this board, and we'd like to let him know that we're on board with him. So just reach out to the board in the future.
Anybody else? Okay, I have just an announcement for the board members. We'll have a informational workshop November 14th at 12 p.m. So this is the,
That's what we'll have.
that's the meeting that we haven't gone to yet.
Oh, and
Yeah,
one other thing, really quick, Ms. Henry, and you can kind of support me on this, that this board is in agreeance with discussion that we had with the mayor earlier, that we're going to compensate our people with at the same level that the cities compensating their people along the lines of merit pay. And it just enhances the difficult times that Ms. Scott Henry's had transitioning and opening up a lot of these cans of worms that we're completing. As you see, all the jobs that are on here, all the work that's being done. So if you want to announce what you want to pay them, you're the executive director, and the board supports you on that.
I want to thank the board for allowing us to offer merit pay, just as the city is receiving for their incentive pay for their civil employees. And that's $2,800 per employee. Correct?
No, but you're not a police officer. No, you're not a police officer.
Okay,
I didn't know you were a
so-
police officer.
Okay, let's just say that the GSD employee who received merit pay. And thank you, board.
Thank you. If there's no other discussion, we can move on to request to speak. Are there any? If there's no request to speak, we'll move on to adjournment. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Is there a second to adjourn?
Yes, second.
Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with the Gary Stormwater Management District meeting. Today's Monday, November 4th. Let's do a roll call. Present.
Present.
Present?
Present.
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 With all present, we have a quorum. There's no need for certification since the items discussed did not pertain to stormwater, so we'll move on to minutes. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the executive session and regular meeting minutes of October 21st, 2024.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded for minutes to be approved for October 21st, 2024. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. With 5 ayes and 0 noes, the minutes have been approved. Next brings us to new business. We have 2.1, Mr. Foster for payroll.
Thank you. Make a recommendation to make a motion to approve and ratify the GSWMD payroll earnings for period ending October 7, 2024 through October 20th, 2024, in the amount of $9,913.22. On your records, you have the reason why there's a slight increase. And if you want to go in details, I can tell you exactly what page it is in your packet.
After hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.1 payroll, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
We'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call for 2.1.
Yes.
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 Yes. With 5 ayes and 0 noes, payroll has been approved. Next, we have claims.
Chair, I would like to add an item to the agenda, which would include vegetation management at South Leaf Golf Course and stormwater retention area. It's a motion that, this is a matter that was approved by the board earlier this year in June, I believe it was, because our goal was to try to get the area cut before the holiday, a July 4th holiday, I recall. But with this particular vendor, Rough Hands, we gave them a contract of $23,500 not to exceed amount. However, in the documentation, we failed to include weekly cuts into the contract agreement. And so I'm requesting that the board consider that we approve an additional $18,000 in the contract for Rough Hands to finalize the cutting for the South Gleason Golf Course and stormwater retention area for one cut this year and then another cut to happen in the spring of 2025, if possible.
Also, just going to add a question, or ask a question. A not to exceed amount that was previously approved, is that changing or is that still?
Yes, we're going to increase the not to exceed amount by $18,000.
And Mr. President, if I could add to that?
Sure.
I had a chance to review this with COLA prior to today's meeting, and there was prior approval at a prior board meeting. What we're looking for today would be a motion to amend the agenda and approve and ratify this award of contract to include the weekly cutting that wasn't included in the original award of contract.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for.
Can we go beyond this year?
Just do it for this year?
So we can do it for this year?
Just do 9,000 then.
I think that's all the need is for right now, because the grass cutting season's over.
Yeah.
So practically speaking, I think all you need is one more cut and you're done anyway.
Okay.
So,
For an additional amount of 9,000?
Additional amount of 9,000.
Okay.
So I'm gonna move that we amend the agenda to add the Gleason grass cutting contract. I also move that we extend the not to exceed amount to 9,000?
Yeah, additional 9,000.
An additional 9,000.
Motion's been made to amend the agenda and approve the amendment for an additional $9,000 for Rough Hands. Is there a second?
Second it?
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion?
I have some discussion.
Yes.
It seems very expensive to cut this grass. If we're not gonna run a golf course, it could be high grass. I don't see the long game on this. You understand what I mean? So we're gonna have similar expenditures next year. Nobody said they're gonna open the golf course. Why do we care about the grass getting tall and spend $60,000 or more in a season on the grass?
Can I respond?
Absolutely. You could give us that 60,000.
So it's a stormwater project. The infrastructure there is something that we've been involved with in the past. So there's a pumping station there, and then it floods in that area. So if we really need to develop it a little bit more to handle more stormwater, because there's an area there that doesn't, that floods out and doesn't accommodate for golfing in that particular spot. And so that's that whole north end of the, of Gleason. But that infrastructure is something that we need to maintain as a stormwater
the
B&D.
infrastructure and not the whole golf course? I mean, it seems like an incredible waste of money.
But that, it's also a recreational space that citizens love to utilize. Indiana University utilizes for walking around the trails. So we have that feature there, and we do get complaints about them not being able to walk around the trail because the vegetation extends into the sidewalks on the trail. So I think that
A new
we,
plan on this that
Okay.
reduces our costs, because honest to God, that seems a waste of our taxpayers' money. So if we can streamline it,
Okay.
cut the path,
Okay,
cut around our infrastructure, the pumping station, whatever, and the rest can go to the woods. We're not using the golf course, nobody's using it.
okay.
That's
So-
a lot of money.
If I can give a suggestion on that, adjacent to the golf course is the Glen Park High Rise. I know the Gary Housing Authority has a lot of senior residents that live there.
Yeah.
They may be interested in entering into some type of cooperative endeavor agreement to kind of help out with that area. And of course, you mentioned IU Northwest, so
Yes.
maybe that's something that you can look into in the off-season and bring back to the
Board,
director.
what was the recommendation? Yes, I would like to do that.
Yeah, because it really looks nice around there.
It does look
Yeah, I was about
good
to say,
You gotta go
a
around
lot
and
of
take a look.
people have been really complimenting all the work.
that we've
Yeah.
done,
That's
and the
been
mayor
done.
featured it in his
Yeah.
community forum, but it
And then
was a,
we finish
We
with
got
that.
more things we can.
We finish with that, then we can really use water remediation on North Gleason.
it's
North
definely
Gleason.
swampy over
That's a-
there.
That's a historic park over there.
Look at us.
We're never gonna play golf there
No.
again.
Yeah,
That's one of the
that's-
most expensive facilities you could have,
Yes,
is a golf course.
you're absolutely right about that.
So why do we have our head in the sand on that?
I think, yes, we'll come up with something
Yeah.
alternative. Okay,
Might turn
thank you,
into a
board.
park, but it looks good.
We need to vote.
Roll call, please.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Lyles,
Yes.
Director Maybach,
Yes,
Director Morris,
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.2 has been approved.
Okay.
Next, we have claims. 3.1, Mr. Foster?
Thank you. Make a motion to approve and ratify GSWMD claim numbers 157 through 166 in the amount of $80,884.91.
Could I ask if did you say the 52,000 was included in here? The 52,000 for the parcel for US 20?
That was the last one.
That was done last meeting?
There was a whole bunch of parcels for the last meeting.
Attorney Harris, was that 52,000 included? It's not included in here, right?
It would.
I just asked one.
We came.
Oh,
We need to know that.
could you give an explanation if I just say we need to add it to the claims list because it's essential?
Yeah.
yeah, North.
On the 20th, you got no, 3 of them.
Well, you know what, we've been paying them for work along that area for the longest.
I know, but what are we paying? I just curious, as an FYI for me.
Oh, okay, Joe,
What are we, what's
there
the
any-
charge for?
Only thing I can think of is maintenance on railroad crossings, but I don't know if that applies here.
But would we have to pay them to maintain the railroad?
We would pay,
Pardon?
we would technically pay for maintenance to be done, but that could be for a different reason. I'm not sure to answer.
Can he explain?
you, Joe?
Jerome?
No, Joe would probably have to, Jerome would know.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
He'll touch on it if you ask him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, for 3.1, did we already,
No.
You don't have a.
oh, is there a motion for 3.1?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion?
I just had a question. I see Norfolk Southern Railroad on here 3 times. I was just wondering, what are those costs incurred for, just as an FYI for me?
I don't even know, do you have the claim list? So there's 3 items on here from North Fork Southern Railway.
Yeah, my understanding is that when I first saw it, I have no knowledge of it at all. So I went to Willett. So we got the contract agreement that we signed with Norfolk. So I think that was previous administration's agreement that they signed with Norfolk. What they did, I don't know.
It's got a description of a Lake Street drainage improvement project. So, I'm just trying to think, like, were there any flagging or anything that needed to be done for the project? That included detours or something like that?
Yeah, that's probably one.
Because that's the only thing I can think of.
All I know is that we have a contract signed with Norfolk.
Okay, so I guess we'll just take a deeper look into this.
Want us to,
If she pulls the invoice, it'll track back to a contract on it.
So if the directors would prefer, oh, there, we have a comment.
You know about it.
So for Lake Street, we did Norfolk Southern's the overhead bridge. Even though we go underneath Norfolk Southern, they still had plan review of our plans and everything that was associated with the design. I don't know exactly what the invoice that you have from Norfolk Southern, but they did have involvement with their preliminary engineering agreement that the board had previously signed during our design. And during the construction phase, they were involved in making sure we didn't have any obstructions to the bridge itself.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments?
Let's see what that contract looks like.
Maybe a second?
Yeah.
So, all right, if there's no further questions or comments, motion's been made and already seconded, so roll call?
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Lyles,
Yes.
Director Laban,
Yes.
Director Morris,
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
For 5 ayes and 0 noes, the claims have been approved. Next, we have 3.2, Gary, Stormwater Management District Financial Reporting.
because of the holiday on November the 11th, we will not have a meeting on the 11th, but we'll push that meeting to that Wednesday, which is the 13th. So for Director Morris and Director Cook, our next MS4 Stormwater meeting is on November 13th. We also participated in the community forum, the mayor's community forum that was held on last week. We had 3 tables there. And I want to thank Kara, Dolores, and our teams, GSD and Stormwater Management team, for pulling together some wonderful information and giveaways for our tables that we had. I know that Mrs. Morris and I saw Mr. Cook and I saw Mr. Maybon there at the community forum, and they did let me know that they had visited the tables. Staff let me know that you guys had come by. I really appreciate those blood pressure monitors, Kara, because I use it on a regular basis. So I appreciate our team for pulling those tables, the displays together and sharing information. On November the 20th, we're hosting a workshop on our climate resilience planning efforts in coordination with the Greater Gary Environmental and Sustainability Advisory Council. Those workshops will, in that workshop, we have 5 subcommittees in which we've identified chairs, and they will then work out strategies that have been identified in the climate resilience plans and put together a work plan for it. This will kick off how we roll out activities in 2025, of whether it's building resilient hubs, managing stormwater, advocating for pollution prevention, assisting with blight elimination, and also what do we do in the event that we have a severe storm, or how do we bounce back quickly? So those discussions will be held on November 20th from noon, I think noon, until 4 p.m. And that will be held here at the Sanitary District. That's all I have to share with you. Oh, one other thing. We do have a a scope of work for Metrics Environmental to complete our technical standards manual. We're still reviewing the details of it. We know that this document will be over 1,000 pages. This is the information that our engineering department will utilize when we're reviewing stormwater applications. So, but we do know that there are other communities have done the same thing, so we're trying to minimize our costs. So we're talking reduction in the scope of work so that we don't replicate some efforts that has already been done. So, but we do know we need to have that technical standard in place for 2025. So you can look forward at our next board meeting. That's all I have to share. Attorney Monroe, is anything else that we need to discuss? Okay, thank you.
Looks like we hopped over the financial reporting.
Oh, okay.
I know we don't need a motion, but it pretty much just echoes.
Yes.
For
Yes.
sanitary.
Yes, so the financial report is a matter of record for the board
Okay.
for the period of July 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2024. And again, in this venue, I'd also like to thank Cinder for getting this to us a few days in advance. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And also, thank you for help on those long-term control plan documents that we had to get to DOJ. Appreciate that. Oh, we didn't talk about that at the last meeting. I wanted to, budgets that we are working on. So, I don't know if I should mention it. So we're working on our storm. We're working on our GSD and stormwater budgets for 2025. This year, we're making sure that our staff is involved in the process. I've also asked board members to be involved in the budget process, so they're hammering it out. Jerome will come to me later and say, okay, Brenda, this is what we have, and then we'll see what we can do to, in terms of how we move forward, and then we present that information to the board for review. That was what I was intending to add to my agenda at the previous meeting, but I just want you to know we're doing things a little bit different now. We want to make sure that key people are involved in the decision-making process, and then it's presented to me, and then I present it to the board, so. All right.
Want to thank Cinder again for helping with that.
Yes.
I had hair last week, but we're working this out.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right, thanks, Brenda.
Okay.
Next, we have American Structure Point.
Good afternoon, Directors. John Tucker, Structure Point. Our Lake Street Drainage Project update for you. We're still pushing through the end of the year to get everything completed. Contractor does have 2 crews out there now, along with their subs for concrete and asphalt and electrical work, so it's kind of chaotic over there, but they're making their way north. They have everything dug out and excavated north of Juniper now. Should have storm sewer completed today, tomorrow. Mother Nature pushed it back a day. Then they'll continue with roadway work. They have commitments from their concrete sub and asphalt subs to get everything through that this year. We'll have some restoration work that'll be in the spring, as I've been mentioning before, but cycle track, first lift of that has been paved from 3rd Street close to Hemlock. We'll continue to keep moving north. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Just had a question for you. Dr. Simpson had planned on being here today, but he had a loss in his family. I visited his house, and I noticed that his sprinkler system is kind of dug out. He says his driveway has sanked about 2 inches. I can see the difference between the garage and the driveway. And he says he's gotten cracks in his basement. What do we do about that? Does he have to get in contact with you, or?
Yes, you can get in contact with us. Say if you had his address, I can.
He stays right there on that.
Corner.
What is that street?
It's Juniper.
That's Juniper.
Juniper.
Juniper, he's on the.
It's on the east, northeast.
Northeast side.
Northeast side, yeah.
And he recently,
house.
he recently, before Eric left, Eric went by there, took pictures. I don't know if he bought the pictures over.
Well, they just recently began excavation on that northeast side of north of Juniper within a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, if not sooner than that, so.
The southwest corner.
Okay. will look into it.
South side of Juniper, on the west side of the street.
Yes. Feel free to pass along my information to Dr. Simpson. I'd be happy to meet with him. And then I also have myself and my staff look at that tomorrow, just to see what we're doing in the area. But we are constructing that area right now, plus, so I will look into it.
Okay.
Oh, I can give him his number.
You got the number?
I think I have Simpson's number.
Okay. Or you can give him Tucker's
So
number.
John,
Oh,
can you drive all the way down Lake Street now to the lakefront, or no?
you can go all the way through there. Once you get north of Hemlock, you're doing a little shifting, lane changing, and I mean, we're shifting around a lot, just with the time frame left in the year. So they're trying to get a lot accomplished late in the season, but you can still make your way all the way. There's a path to get you all the way to the lake.
So basically, you could start at, let's say, Miller Avenue and go north to the lake without obstruction, except for where you mentioned?
Yes, you can go there. There will be some structures or some restrictions. How about
There's a
that?
stoplight there.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than we had.
Yeah, no, and again, they're still moving forward through there, but right now they're trying to work one side as fast as they can move to the other side. So and then we have the lagoon and the bridge there right in the middle where we do have a temp signal right now, but they're shifting their way through there, so.
I can give you Simpson's number if you're interested.
Okay. You want me just to grab that from you right after this meeting? That way then
Yeah.
we'll get that from you, absolutely.
One thing that's come up for residents or constituents trying to maneuver down Lake Street who don't have vehicles is that everywhere where we're waiting for that last, inch and a half to be put down for the surface, folks, if they're either in wheelchairs or small motorized vehicles, that lip that they're getting over and driving either onto or off from, they brought it to the attention of the city. And so I guess I'm here just asking, do we have a tentative timeline, or can we prioritize patching some of the missing sidewalks that could be around utilities, and then maybe even paving starting from Third to maybe even Hemlock we're just short of, just so that it's easier for folks to, get to and from who don't have vehicles?
Yes, we can look at that. Their paver is supposed to be back in next week, and they're
Okay.
going to be pretty much continuous, whether they're on the cycle track or they're doing all the gaps as they move forward. That Hemlock intersection, the next lift is on the schedule for next week. So
Okay.
we'll look at that to try to see how we can come with a game plan and start finishing from south to north as well.
Okay, and then for the sidewalks, I know a decent amount has been poured, but we have like some spots here and there that I think we're just waiting on utilities to be adjusted, volts or valves or something.
There are a few that are still waiting for American Water to adjust a couple of valves. That information was resent to them again last week.
Okay.
I'll follow up with them again today. I'll find out the status. They've been moving as we've been adjusting as we've been moving along, but there's a couple now that we've gotten, whether the sidewalk in or the first lift of asphalt, that their adjustment just wasn't exactly where it needed to be. So they've been notified, and we'll continue to move them forward to fill in the gaps.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I expressed, some of the concerns that were shared with me.
Absolutely.
So if folks manage to get onto the sidewalk, they would then, come across a panel that would be missing. If they were to stay in the street, they still have the upper portion of the manhole lid, and then
Yes.
different, elevations for the pavement that still needs to be laid. So just trying to communicate that information and see if we can, get some things going.
Completely
Well,
understand.
overall, I know everyone's excited about the project and for it to be done so that they can really, take advantage of the new trail and roadway, but thank you.
Yep, absolutely. I'll keep pushing them. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for American Structure Point?
Renewal, right?
All right, thank you so much.
This is the best plan they do.
I do need to make I do need to add one more thing for my report, but I'll wait till,
Oh, I don't have much, just an update on the community crossings paving project. The Gary Stormwater Management District is taking a look at all of the drainage structures that were adjusted to make sure they are in compliance and to make sure they have concrete rings around the manholes. Once that has been reviewed and approved by stormwater district, then we'll be able to close the project out. All the striping has been done. And I'm also working with the stormwater department, the engineering department on addressing a drainage issue on Fifth and Taft Street. That's all I have this afternoon. I entertain any questions that the directors may have.
Any comments or questions from the director, from the directors for Robinson Engineering? No. All right, thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, so I just want to, tomorrow is election day, and we've sent out our crew to look at all of the sites to make sure that, because of the wet weather that we have going on today and tomorrow, we're making sure that the drainage are clear. Now, there will still be, maybe some standing puddles that are in some of the locations, but that's not, but for the most part, all of our drainage catch basins are clear of debris, and we'll have someone on standby just in case that any of the polling places are obstructed from entering them. Just want to mention that.
thank you. Next brings us to discussion. Are there any topics or items that any of the directors would like to bring up at this time? All right, hearing none.
Do that 2,800, that merit pay applies to the stormwater folks too?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Well, and keep in mind, Ms. Henry, I think the requirement is 1 year service. Now, if you got somebody that's bridging their services, that's different.
Oh, they didn't
But
vote
you
that,
can-
they
you
didn't
can
vote
make-
that, they voted that, they didn't vote for that.
They didn't vote for what?
It just says that if you've been here, they didn't, unless you put in that stipulation.
You didn't have to work a year?
That's what got approved by
They-
the city.
it was-
You don't have to work a year in order to get the.
Okay.
The merit pay.
Okay, well, that's your flexibility here,
Okay.
because we've always required a year's service.
Okay.
So if the city say you didn't have to do it, then we're going to follow the city's lead.
Okay,
So if you happen to pop up at the right time,
okay.
and you may have, are you going to have discussions with,
Staff.
okay, and are you going to try and earmark that for November, or?
Yes, we would like to, yep, Jerome already has it written down. We're trying to shoot for,
Yeah.
before the Thanksgiving
Right.
holidays.
Well, whatever date is, I'm for any time before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't have that written down, but, that's not a problem. I just need to make sure we get some things clarified, so we'll meet with,
Well, that's the only thing the board asks you to do this whole year.
Okay, no problem, we'll make it happen for you.
All right,
Is that true, Rita?
What's that? That's the only thing we ask.
Everything else is like, everything else is not written down.
do we have any requests to speak? Is there a motion for adjournment?
So move. Second.
Is there a second? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.